John F. Garcia Adajar, 30, from the Philippines.
Wow.
Asan yung tattoo? Asan yung tattoo?
Mahirap.
Pageant na, pageant watch. So, di ba?
Pageant.
Wala.
Alright, so
We're ready na.
do you agree?
Yeah, you have a question, Anna.
Hi, Sir Arnold. How are you feeling right now that you have finally Team Philippines is finally complete for Mister and Miss Supranational?
Yeah, what happened was, so the Miss World Philippines 2021 was rescheduled because of the IATF rule. Naman tayo when the president, when Malacanang or IATF announced it last Friday, the Metro Manila will be under GCQ restricted. So automatically, we are not allowed to have a big gathering. So I got a letter from Okada and from the LGU and from my IATF that I can't stage the event because there's a rule. So it's really hard for you to do the schedule, and so we will move the Miss World Philippines coronation night on August 8, 2021, the same place, the Grand Ballroom of the Okada, Manila. So last Saturday, since I know that the Miss Supranational, if I'm going to stage it, hindi lahat ako. So I decided to make we have to look for a candidate na for the Miss Supranational. Saturday, I decided, we talk about it, the organization talk about how are we going to choose. So my suggestion to our organization was, why don't we make the co-candidates, the candidates of Miss World Philippines 2021 as are the judges to choose who will be the official candidate, and who I called for a meeting last Saturday. I thought it was just a gathering of celebrating my birthday with them, but it was the voting of the official candidate for the Supranational. So all of them, it was a secret ballot. So I asked the girls to nominate who do you think is the best candidate for Miss Supra. So they nominated 4 candidates. One is Rufa Nava,
Kathleen,
Caitlin Payton, Megan Campbell, and of course Dindi. So after that, they had a secret ballot. They voted through online, and unfortunately, Dindi got the title. So, umiyak siya, natala siya. Was very happy. She was very happy, and just to be fair and square to all the candidates, that I want them to choose who do you think is the best candidate. My criteria there, they know the criteria. I gave the criteria of the supranational requirements, and of course, isipin ang konsyensya. Use your conscience. Do not use your friendship with people. Do not use your being
affiliation,
party nomination. Walang ano. Use your conscience. Who do you think is the best candidate for our country to represent our country to the international stage? So they give them 10 minutes to vote. Yun, lumabas si Dindi. With regards to John, I own a URCC league. It's a URCC Global. It's a mixed martial arts league. It's a global league wherein it's very popular. This is the first MMA league na Philippines ang may-ari. But in Asia, it is a big Miss Martial Arts League. John is our champion. Was a champion for 2 consecutive years, 2018 and 2019. He's the champion. He's a welterweight champion of the UICC. So I've been thinking for how many weeks na who will be my candidate. Kasi hindi nga pala i-start yung Mr. World, no? There are some names na pumasok, but unfortunately, may maraming requirements. But when I thought of the idea, I want someone, because I remember when I brought Andrew Wolf in Mr. World. He's an athletic, he's a rugby player. So I want something like that. Ayoko lang ng masyadong glamour boy or a pageant boy or a model or something. I wanted an athletic, sporty, good-looking, good moral character, pleasing personality, and intelligent man who can represent our country in the international stage. So, wala na. Sinabi ko na, I think that's John Adajar. He's a public servant. He has the epitome of the requirement of the criteria of the Mister Supranational, and he's a 2-time world champion. So, I think for that thing, na world champion ka, so meron tayong at least X factor na, di ba? Na pwede natin i-promote sa supranational that our candidate is a world champion. So, yun na, siya na yung pilan. Di na ako nagpa-contest. Sabi ko, i-appoint ko na lang because I think he's a perfect candidate for the Philippines.
ALB, nagpa-screen ba si John?
Hindi na siya nagpa-screen. Tinignan ko na yung mga photos niya. And then I found out that he had an experience of a pageant 5 years ago. So may experience na siya sa international. Experience na how to do pageant, how to join pageant. And at the same time, may experience siya to compete into international sports. So the confidence is there. So yun na, siya na yung ginawa ko.
So, nung John is recent from the Philippine pageantry. So, when ALB contacted you and chose you to be the Philippine representative to Mister Supranational in Poland, and you have an experience 5 years ago, just like what we mentioned, ano yung feeling na ikaw ang magiging si Mr. Philippines?
I was totally shocked because bus stops called me end of June, and then they told me that I'm going to compete for the Mister Supranational. But
Like called you.
I mean, the team called me, and then they wanted me to compete for the Misters, and then I was actually shocked because I thought I was already done with the pageant industry because I changed career, which is MMA. After my pageant years, I switched career to MMA. So what I thought is I'm done with it, but you know, you can never say no once you have the opportunity. So, and it's an honor to represent the country again.
Before we talk about your MMA background, let's talk about your pageant background. Because we don't know much about it. So, can you tell us more about it?
Wala ka talaga ng mga sitado ko. Joke! No, way back when I was still a teenager, I competed in our city, the city of San Pablo. I was the Mister Coco Fest, and that festival itself is they call it Coco Fest. So I'm the Mister Coco Fest 2007. That was a long time ago. So yeah, and then I competed on Quezon Laguna 2014. In 2014, and then the following year is 2015. I had to represent our city, our province for the national pageant. So the Laguna province chose me to represent the province for the Misters of the Philippines. Philippines. Yeah. You know, Neil Perez, 2014.
Atapad.
Where did we
Rain
Villarreal.
Villarreal. Alright.
And Neil Perez won as Mr. International. So now, can you give us a good look out to what can we expect to your participation in Mr. Supranational?
This Supranational, what I learned is Supranational is more on the sports, and I'm into sports. I'm in the sports industry, and I know I'm athletic, physically fit, and you know, when it comes to mind games, I always excel for it. So let's go.
But in pageantry, besides the sports and also you know that male candidates show more flesh. So, and you already have experience with that, right? In joining the Coco pageant and the
You know,
Mr. Philippines.
Yeah, I am experienced. Plus, whenever I fight, I always wear crowns.
Yes. Can you give us a sample now?
For sure, gusto niyo kasi. Kasi kapag, di ba? I think I have,
Ang button mo na lang.
you can see all my fights on YouTube, so.
No, we want live. Kasi we're not able to see you kasi sa Mister Supranational.
Ano ba?
Anyway, you seem to be a good choice for as a Filipino representative, and this will be the first time that the Miss World Philippines organization under ALB will be sending one. So we have high hopes. So that is a heavy pressure on your shoulder, but definitely as an MMA fighter, you know how to deal with that, right?
Yes, but
So bubugbugin ba natin ang mga kalaban doon?
yung last press na tanong sa akin, what is my edge? Sabi ko, kung suntukan niya, sure na tayo.
Bubugbugin ba natin? Paano natin bubugbugin ang mga kalaban natin?
Bubugin na sa pagmamahal.
Umpisahan mo muna sa amin. Kailangan i-detensa muna, di ba?
Ano naman tahimik ko? Mas smile.
Ang bilis mo, pastok!
Kaya nga, di ba? Dapat gano'n. No? But then good luck and then
Thank you.
much feeling.
Thank you.
How was your transition from being an MMA fighter na ngayon pageant na? At paano yung preparation mo sa Supra? Kasi malapit na yun.
Because they called me last June and I weighed 95 kilos because everyone gained weight this pandemic,
Yes.
right? So I weighed 95 kilos, then after 3 weeks, right now I'm 85 kilos. So 10 kilos yung binawas ko for 3 weeks, span of 3 weeks. So
Sana all.
ang sigal dyan nagpapabugbog.
Saan?
Ano?
Kaya you will lose weight talaga.
Teka lang, Jay, volunteer. Jay!
Ito ng pagmamahal.
Bugbugin daw ng pagmamahal. So guys, those who are watching us,
Parang titikilig tayo lahat dito.
How do you deal with pressure since Philippines is also expecting for a crown since Philippines have never won any Mister Supranational crown
Yes.
as of yet?
Pressure?
Yeah.
Of course, the pressure is high because and it's very challenging. And you know, I always have challenges. I will never compete without any challenges. So the pressure here is high, very high, because if ever, I'm gonna take the title for the first time, and it'll be the pride of the Philippines. So it's always an honor to represent the country.
Alright, I have a question. Since you were recently appointed lang, with only a few more days to go, which aspect of the competition or training are you focusing right now? Modeling, pagpapalaki ng katawan,
I'm
fitness,
actually excited with the dancing.
dancing. Yes, there are a lot of dancing.
Sample niya.
See, alam ko na agad tatanong mo.
Yeah, there are a lot of dancing segments.
There's gonna be a lot of dancing, and I'm a struggle dancer. So I love challenges. So willing to learn more from dancing, like a Channing Tatum dancing.
Sample na.
Ganon?
Kanina pa kayo yung sound.
Oo nga, kaya nga. Ngayon, ang cute niya. Ini-stop mo na, binanggit mo ba?
Oo nga.
Sige na.
Well, I'm more
Sige na, sabi
excited.
ni ALB, sige na.
Ulit na.
Boss,
Music.
yun mo way in.
Hip-hop.
Oo nga, waiting na, wala kang sugot eh, go. Waiting sa pageantry.
Anyway, I'm glad to be part of this organization. So let's do this. Sir Jan. That's
Yung araw, Malaya versus Ringside. So I'll start with you and then I think my question has been answered already, that one of the things that you will focus on is the dancing. So, any more aside from that?
of course the sports challenge. Because since when I was a kid, I always excel in sports. Basketball, I did basketball, swimming, table tennis, badminton, lawn tennis, you name it. Wag lang synchronized swimming. So, hindi ko talaga kaya.
How about the glam side?
Sorry?
The glamour side.
The glamour side. Yeah, I did some ramp modeling before, so yeah.
May background na.
All around.
All around the background, inviting, the glamour days.
Siguro
How tall are you? How tall are you?
I signed 6 flat.
Okay.
Yung ba tanong mo?
Yeah, kasi as we all know sa male pageantry, height is might eh. So I would have wanted to ask, di ba, you'll be syempre facing against all these taller contestants. So how do you think you will really stand out talaga? Kasi pare-pareho na kayo ng height, physical attributes.
I'm never intimidated by the height kasi. Like me, as an MMA fighter, they always look at me as the villain in everything. Because I'm a fighter. And you know, I have the aura of being the badass in the class. And then I never get intimidated with the taller guys. So it's like walking in the park with a lot of space.
But will that be against your being a Philippine representative since you are looked at as a fighter and as a villain? Paano ka magiging bida sa title?
But have you watched The Maleficent?
Kami sa tingin mo, pinanood namin Maleficent. Puro straight dito, pinapanood namin MMA fighting.
When you watch Maleficent, she's always the villain, pero siya ang bida, right?
Meron siyang backdraft na, may backdraft siya story.
Have you seen my tattoo?
No, pero kasi,
Naku,
Sinabi ko na ano ba yun?
ay, hindi pangatlong beses na siya nagsasapang gusto ko.
Bakit ganon?
It's Maleficent. You'll see soon.
No.
Pasabog.
No,
May pasabog yan.
Hindi naman
Relax.
Hindi kasi siya ma-appreciate kapag ka nasa
Sa
photos
photos
or,
lang, yes.
or sa mga videos lang.
Meron?
push talaga aso ah.
Boss, ako sa'yo, ibang feeling ko talaga dito. Ibang feeling ko.
Teka, gusto niyo ba ayaw niyo?
Siyempre, aarte ba? Aarte ba?
Mga gay, may ayaw.
Aarte ba?
Sige na, magbubad ka kasi sa
Sabihin, maganda siya.
Oh, yun nga po, pwede po
I spent
Pero
18 hours for
as
it.
pageant aficionados and pageant experts, we are the judges to say kung maganda ang pageant.
Parang naka-live tayo ah, Tristan.
O ladies, gusto nyo ba?
Hindi, mamaya na daw pagtapos na ng live.